lyrical gangsters. No, we ain't no pranksters. Got to bring that truth to many false preachers. Got to bring that truth to all of God's people. Got to bring that proof, exposing all these leeches and all these false teachers. Man, it's such a burden, and it really grieves us. Man, our hearts are hurting, cause they have deceived us. If you only knew what this has cost us, and all of the people that hate us for the fussing, all of the people that hate us for this loving. Who amongst you long to be hated, and who amongst you long to be degraded? As much is true if they hated Jesus. Followers will be too. What makes you think that you won't be persecuted? All disciples were, and this can't be disputed. All that live godly, they will be persecuted. And why are they so loved? Cause they ain't preaching truth, kid. Man, this is a burden. Man, it's such a burden. If you only knew how much our hearts are hurting for all of God's people, bound by these churches and all of God's people, deceived by these teachers. Man, this is a burden. Man, it's such a burden. If you only knew how much our hearts are hurting for all of God's people, bound by these buildings and all of God's people, deceived by these leeches.
Standing around here with big bucks, $1,000,000 trucks, awesome suits, purple and white, purplicious power tucks. What about that persecution promise? We're serving a God. Man, I bet you think they really meant a God. Purpose-driven life, yeah, we all got one, but we don't need that Rick one. We got that one from above. Pastor standing in front of my face, man, they two-hand prophesying. There's a space saved in hell for all those pastors who be prophet-lying.
Oh yeah, they lying, and people, they ain't surviving, they dying. That's why I'm trying to spread truth, and I'm crying out for these lost souls. I ain't brought no cash flow, but they be hating on us like we out there pushing dope. We pushing hope for sure, we gotta let them know. Yeah, cause most of these buildings, they all about that show. The harvest is ready, but man, the laborers are few. Very few got the truth, so it's so much work to do.
Man, this is a burden. Man, it's such a burden. If you only knew how much our hearts are hurting for all of God's people, bound by these churches and all of God's people, deceived by these teachers. Man, this is a burden. Man, it's such a burden. If you only knew how much our hearts are hurting for all of God's people, bound by these buildings and all of God's people, deceived by these leeches.
I'm born again, a full-time Christian. I labor for the elect and all of the blind victims. I see them, they need a shepherd cause they following goats. The blind leading the blind, giving them false hope. And I gotta let them know cause I care about their souls. The Lord Jesus said that it's a narrow road. So I gotta let them know that they under my control. You could die today or you prepare to go. And I know that preaching the truth will have us perceived as heathens. It's a lot of deceiving, I'm pleading, man, every day I'm grieving. I do this out of love cause it's a hard burden. I'ma preach the cross and I'ma teach the lost just like I'm Charles Spurgeon. But I'm not the prince of preachers, man, I'm Javon McKenzie. Since I expose these false teachers, some people, they plot against me, but they will not stop me, cause people, they need the truth. If you're caught up in deception, I hope this reaches you and teaches you to study and show yourselves approved. If you're in sound doctrine, keep rocking and preaching truth.
Man, this is a burden. Man, it's such a burden. If you only knew